What does it actually mean when we talk about extending the health span? We age from many different aspects. This is, of course, the top science that accompanies longevity, meaning a long life. In our field, it's very important that we stay up to date with knowledge.
Dr. Andrea Gartenbach, she is an internist, a stress medicine specialist, and above all, a longevity medicine specialist. Also once co-founded a startup in this field. Andrea, why are you here at the Rejuvenation Startup Summit?
Yes. On one hand, we have the entire scientific scene here. And this way, I get very good contact with all the researchers and entrepreneurs who simply have the latest technologies on the market. To truly accompany and advise my patients with the latest knowledge and also to simply build the network. It's very important in our field to stay up to date with knowledge.
Wouldn't it be quite good if as many doctors as possible, perhaps through you, were informed? To get an overview of what is happening here in the field of longevity? Or is it ultimately that the curiosity isn't really there yet? Because doctors actually have a lot to do, are under time pressure and can't engage with the topic so intensively.
Well, there are two aspects to that. We have now had the Longevity Week in advance, which very successfully brought the topic into the public eye. It attracted a lot of attention on the one hand from investors in the media, but also from doctors. We had a lot of doctors who participated, and today is of course the cherry on top of the cake. This is of course the top science that accompanies longevity, meaning long life. And many doctors, of course, first need to take the step before that, health span, to convey the health span to patients, and above all, to accompany them therapeutically. And a lot is going to happen in that area now. So this is one of the topics I definitely want to advance. My medical colleagues, simply provide them with the collected information about what's happening here. The latest experiences and insights are, because in everyday medical practice, as just mentioned, there is too little time to really delve deeply into it. And yes, that will definitely have to come, should come.
You have seen the program and certainly couldn't follow all of the lectures. But are there also very practical things that you take away for your everyday work with your patients?
Yes. Just through the lectures, you always get communication approaches on how we can implement science into practice. And on the one hand, we have heard a wonderful lecture from Evolution, I think, on how we can also approach the topic politically. So that means, what does it actually mean when we extend the health span and also practice longevity for the economy and business? And that is a very important topic that we need to address. And then also especially the clinical panel, which is yet to come. And the small startups, the short presentations from the startups that are already going into practice, we can already partially integrate them. And there's a lot of exciting stuff coming, yes. I'm taking a lot with me.
You met Greg, Faye, who conducted that spectacular TRIN trial, or the study about it. That means growth hormone, the human growth hormone, DHEA, and injected metformin, and was able to prove after a year that the people had an immune system, again, that functioned properly. That means the thymus gland grew again and the epigenetic age decreased. So the biological age measured with the epigenetic clock. Are these actually things that you are already using?
I am still waiting until the science is really at a point where we are allowed to use it. As doctors, we naturally have strict regulations, and as soon as it comes out of the scientific realm and we are allowed to apply it in a borderline area, we can do that. In general, you usually cannot generalize it. We naturally have to look at the advantages and disadvantages of indications. And since I naturally work in a very specialized field and know my patients very well, I can use it very specifically. Having contact with many scientists, we also have the opportunity to offer certain therapies within the framework that is possible.
Yes. It must be explained that you have a completely new system for dealing with patients, which the patients also have to pay for privately and which is currently unaffordable for many. But it plays a pioneering role, so to speak. You don't have a practice. You have very close contact with your individual patients, so to speak. You provide holistic care and work with a large network of specialists. Together, you diagnose everything and do everything to keep these people healthy for a long time. I think we need to clarify that briefly at this point.
Exactly. In longevity medicine, it's very important not to look at just one risk factor. We age due to many different aspects. It's not just one cog we need to turn, but many. However, we need a concept of which cog to turn first so that everything forms a cohesive unit. The body is so complex and complicated. I look at and identify which risks an individual has and then see, okay, what do we need to look at first with which network? Where are the best doctors for that? And where can we then create a protocol and guideline to make it accessible to everyone later? To have an algorithm that we can also introduce to other doctors.
So you are a pioneer. Last question, but I think it's important in this context. Here, startups present themselves to investors so that they invest. You yourself were also in a startup, were also a co-founder. What are really the challenges here, especially here in Berlin? Yes, also really the challenge.
The challenge is getting attention for the topic because it requires research, a lot of money, a lot of capital. And that's why it's so great that with Longevity Week we were able to generate so much attention so that the topic is on everyone's lips, thus naturally leading to more demand and more willingness to invest. The network is important for exchanging ideas and also to see which investors fit with which startup. This is very, very important because teamwork is also crucial there. And the challenge is simply within the regulatory framework we have, which in Germany, one must say, is very strict compared to other countries to be able to operate and still advance innovatively.
What did you do in the startup in terms of content?
We looked into the possibility of creating longevity locations, like how we know fitness studios today, essentially providing access to such places. And the challenge there was the legal situation we have here in Germany. And we were perhaps a bit ahead of our time. And I find it really great that now several companies are coming along that can continue this approach.
And you prefer working with people and patients rather than in a startup?
Exactly. That was very important to me because as a doctor, we simply have the hurdle that it's not easy for us to be able to work medically and entrepreneurially without major problems. And accordingly, yes, my passion is the patients, the care and the education. And that's why I'm very happy to be here.
As a pioneer, Dr. Andrea Gartenbach, longevity physician, thank you.
Thank you.